Hi guys, this is my Hoya Macrophylla Albomarginata, and this is what she looks like. I'll do a close-up. I did just put her in pond. This is homemade pond. I will link down below what I do use. This is a self-watering pot. It has a reservoir in the bottom. It has a water, where is it? Water level right here to indicate if there is any water or needs to be replenished. There was a little bit of damage when I unboxed and transplanted her. I tried as best as possible, and sometimes it does happen, you know. I was very, very careful, but sometimes it just happens. This got broken, and one of the vines got broken. I think it was this one, and I trimmed a little bit on the top. This one was like really dry and yellow, so I just trimmed her. The reason that I do that and I trim like really, really tiny, I would say maybe like between like 5 millimeters or less, is that from my personal experience, it encourages growth. Like, I don't want to trim so much. I just want to trim a little bit. And what I've also noticed is that like when you trim it like here on the top, it won't grow there anymore. So if this was even longer, what I would do is I would trim it again a little bit every week. And what I've noticed if you do that is that each time you trim it, it will encourage one growth per trim. So that's what I've noticed. So not on this particular plant, but some other plants like my other Hoyas, my other philodendrons, and other plants that I've tried to do that with, that usually are notoriously slow growers. And I did that. I think I did that, and it wasn't really on purpose. It was accidental. And I noticed when it was growing the same amount of times that I clipped it. And I clipped it like small. So anyway, I don't really know how to water this. Basically, aside from my carnosas and my pubicalix, all of my Hoyas are in, and my australis, one australis anyway, all of my Hoyas are in self-watering and in pond. The reason that I switched them there is that I just got overwhelmed and I really don't know how to take care of all of them. Each Hoya has very different requirements in regards to water and light and the type of soil as well. So I just kind of wanted to uniform it. And secondly, it's an epiphytic kind of plant, which is the same as an orchid. And the only way I really grow my orchids is through a self-watering pot or semi-hydroponic or semi-hydro. So that's what I do. That's what I thought, you know, I really want to keep growing Hoyas, but I had to stop at a certain point because they were dying on me and I just didn't know how to care for them. So I decided to put them in pond, and so far, majority of them are really thriving. Some of my other ones have started to have new growth, you know, things like that. So this one, I'm planning on putting her either on a west or an east facing window. I'm thinking I'm going to do an east facing window because she does have white leaves, white variegation, but she does have thicker leaves. So I don't know, maybe she can handle a west, which are my Hoya Carnosa Tricolor or Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen and Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. They are also about this thick, maybe a little bit thicker in leaf. Smaller though, but not this gigantic. And they also do have white in them. So everywhere that I've researched, a lot of people keep this either on an east or a west facing window, either directly at the window or a little bit away. So I do have a little leeway in that, and I do only have east and west windows. I have access to north, but not very much. It's very limited. So I usually pick west or east. And here's a tip. When you do, from my personal experience, using pond as my substrate or medium, this does not apply with orchid bark, but with pond, what I've noticed is that after the first watering, the plant seems to soak it up much quicker. So don't assume that after the first watering, it's going to want the same frequency. So for example, after my first watering in 2, 3, or 4 days, the level of the water goes to minimum and is actually very dry. After I water it for the second time, it won't probably be sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 days, depending on the size of the pot, the size of the plant, and the amount of light that the plant gets overall. It just depends. But usually it will be much more versus the first time. And they're gonna start to acclimate in the pond. So the thing that I'm trying to see is that the more she sits in here, the more she holds on to the pond, because she just got put in here like maybe less than an hour ago. She just got put in here. And I want her to just, her root system to grab. And the way to do that is to encourage, by watering from the top, is to encourage where the water is going so that it will hold on to whatever substrate you have. And because there's a reservoir here, and I do add stuff in my water, the root system is going, it's basically kind of like mimicking in-ground outdoors, that there's always water in the bottom. So they're trying to just go follow where the water is. From my personal experience, and so far from my very limited experience with, in regards to using pond substrate, or rocky substrate, or pebble substrate, or chunky substrate, it's called different things. In a self-watering with Hoyas, what I've noticed is that they do enjoy that, and they actually, the root system really does thrive. The tricky thing is that your bottom part like this cannot be under the rocks, because if they do, they start to rot. And I learned that the hard way. Some of my plants were like buried underneath, even a little bit, like it has to pop up high. If it gets buried a little too deep, it will start to just rot. It's very finicky. The easiest Hoyas, if this is getting hard for you, I would say stick with the carnosas. There are so many different kinds of carnosas. Pubicalyx is also very easy. Australis is also very easy. So if you want to get Hoyas and you're having a hard time, I would say stick to that one. The other ones are much harder, me personally, so far from my limited experience. So what I'm really going to want to see is that hopefully in about a month, because it takes a while for them to acclimate. So in about a month, I'm hoping that the root system has grown. The lowest root system, I think, is touching up to here. And I'm hoping by then it will be like somewhere, I don't know, I'm hoping. And what I usually like to do is, if it does go too low, I will check it every few months, and I just kind of push the roots up top so it always stays here. And if this is completely filled with just roots at some point, that's fine. I just want to know where it's looking at, because this is not see-through. So I just want to check. And the insert is black and not see-through as well. It's opaque, so I can't really see the progress. Like I said, the direction of light, I'm unsure yet, and I will update this particular plant. I water when it's needed. Another tip for watering a Hoya is that when you kind of touch the leaves, this is firm right now, but when you touch it and it's kind of a little flimsy or droopy and wrinkly, but this is already wrinkly to begin with, so that can be tricky. So with this particular leaf pattern, because it's wrinkly, and that's normally how it looks, is that you can't really base it and think that this is thirsty. Okay, so what you're going to do is just, if it's not firm like this, because if I keep folding it, this will break. So if it's not firm like this, that means it's getting very thirsty. You need to water. And I do fertilize. The self-watering system, because of the reservoir, it does add humidity, because it's constantly evaporating the water, and that does add humidity in there. So this, I don't know the percentage of humidity for this one, but it works really great for my orchids, and I'm hoping she thrives. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I hope that you enjoyed, and you're going to hit the like, subscribe, and of course the bell so you're notified every single time I do upload a new video. All my social media accounts, including what I do use for this particular plant, is down in the description section as usual. So if you guys want to chit chat, tips, anything to do with this particular plant, you want to help me out, you have other suggestions and anything, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.